Hello, YouTube. How's everybody doing tonight? Joe and Tuck's spooky hour. Got a couple of things we're going to do tonight. It's going to be kind of exciting. I got an idea last night from our live show. We were talking about the ultimate evil, Maury Terry, based on the book that the investigations and the research he did on the Son of Sam killings and how it was associated with a couple of chapters were associated with Minot, North Dakota, my homie town. And there's a couple of Grossman files. Um, this is stuff I've watched over the years. Just some interviews of what had happened about a gentleman that was murdered up here, who was associated with David Berkowitz, who was the Son of Sam killer. Um, but before we do that, I'm going to show some comic books. So, just comics I'd found kind of over and over recently. Issue number 89 of Daredevil. Got Electro going on there. Kind of a stupid glare. But yeah, no, that's a kind of a fun cover here. I don't know who did it though. But yeah, that's issue 89. Always looking for Daredevil comics. Here's issue 93, Daredevil and the Black Widow. Kind of fun, exciting stuff. The Indestructible Man. #106, Daredevil and Black Widow. Because, I think they were dating at the time. The Beetle, issue 108. Co-starring the deadly Black Widow. Daredevil is man up here. Daredevil, issue 122. #144. A lot of great one-timer villains in these books here. And of course, then we start issue number 169. His name is Bullseye, and he's a dick. Issue 173. Daredevil goes berserk. #175. Daredevil's always been such a stable, back in the Bronze Age, was just a great character, stories, everything. And we got issue 177. We got 178. Great cover here. 180. Famous cover, 182. Got some Punisher in this one, number 183. $185. The cheap comic collector Rob had this on his $3 claim sale today. But I already had it, Rob. And ended with the Daredevils, we got 188. Then we got some old school stuff here. Detective Comics 282. 10-cent cover. Silver Age. Detective Comics 295. Detective Comics 318. Kind of a good one. Got Dan in here tonight. Oh, sweet, dude. Black Widow cover is on display in my flat. There it is, man. Got Detective Comics 319. $0.12 issue. And Detective 351. Topsy Turvy 379. And 413. Creepy cover, fun cover. Look at that. Is it showing backwards on the screen? Or upside down or whatever? Anybody want to let me know, Dan? And we got Detective 472. Batman 144. 12 center. Another 12-cent Batman here. What is that? 183. I want to watch myself on TV tonight. Got a couple Super Friends, number 3. And number 28. Bump, 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 bump. And then Aquaman, number 78. Excuse me, 48. Aquaman. Atlas Comics, number 1, Tales of Evil. Hawkman number 23. We got some Creeper number 3. Monsters on the Prowl Marvel number 12. Marvel Monsters Are Coming number 7. Beware. And Tomb of Dracula number 30. Blades in that one. And Tomb of Dracula, Lord of Vampires number 61. Resurrection. Okay. So, as I was talking about at the beginning, I'm going to show a clip from the Grossman files about the situation with the gentlemen that were associated, the death and the murder of someone who was associated with David Berkowitz up in North Dakota, Minot. So if you want to give me a second here. Because, since it is the spooky hour.
Potatoes. Let's go through a few little excerpts of basically Falcon essentially just talking about John Carr as a person. I think this is going to be good to set the stage a little bit. So let's listen to this. And John, if you want to talk or comment, please just tell me to stop and I'll stop it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here we go.
Most of the time he played it really straight, I didn't really get to know him until about his last maybe 2 months in service.
Mm-hmm.
He started hanging around my coffee house quite a bit. And, he was getting out, short-timer, and trying to establish a rapport with the community again. And he was really weird.
What do you mean he was weird? What was weird about him?
Well, I don't know. First of all, you might take offense to this being from New York, but city slickers just do not get trusted in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Especially people with New York or New Jersey accents, He's left over from the Brooklyn days, and you see the Dirty 30s and all the hoodlums with flocks like that, And North Dakota is clandestine. It's a very small population and tight-knit. Most of the time you grew up with everybody else in their dog,
Oh, just because he talks funny doesn't make it weird.
No, but
What did he do that was weird?
he was just like, I don't know, he couldn't handle any of the women.
All right. So basically, John, hold on one second here. I'm having some issues. Hold on. Give me a second. So that doesn't sound to me like a guy who was like knows John Carr very often. It sounded like he just kind of met the dude, like a month or two before he left town. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, you hear him say, "Oh, he used to come by my coffee house." Like I said, I think Falcon was the local guy, and these guys just popped in here and there. And I'm not saying eventually they didn't bond some kind of a friendship, but it certainly isn't what Maury leads you to believe in the Ultimate Evil.
Yeah, Maury leads us to believe that he had all this intimate knowledge of John Carr, and here he is telling the actual law enforcement agents, and they threatened him at the beginning of this conversation. They were like, "If you lie to us, we're coming out there and we're going to grab you and bring you to New York."
Yeah.
So chances are he was telling these guys the whole truth. So let's listen to a little bit more of what this guy had to say about John.
Most of the time he played it really straight, I didn't really get to know him until about his last maybe 2 months in service.
Mm-hmm.
Now, John Carr is the guy that was killed in North Dakota, Minot, North Dakota. They found him. John Carr was a part of a back in the late 70s and the 80s, the total satanic panic scare up here. And I remember there was a couple of Halloweens where the Minot Daily News would get letters to the editor saying, keep your kids at home. Satanic cults are going to be around, all that crap or whatever. But, we'd go running through the sewers and, when you're younger, you're going to go do things you're not supposed to. And over by my dad's house, there was an area where we would go, and there was an opening so you could go walking through the tunnels in the sewers, right? There's a lot of weird stuff that we had found. Pentagrams, dead cats, dead dogs, stuff like that. Satanic writing. There was a camp in the Oak Park area that was called Camp Awetty. And Camp Awetty was another strange place because there was a lot of satanic activity back in the day there too. It was a Girl Scout camp at first, but then it hit, when the Girl Scouts were going on, and in the fall when the creepiness would come in, it would turn really kind of spooky like that too. But we would go out there and sneak on people, and we saw some weird stuff too. There was a place north of town called the Falcon's Nest, which was an old barn, and there was a lot of satanic activity there too back in the day. I'm not into that shit, but some people can be. So here, let's jump back on here.
He started hanging around my coffee house quite a bit, and he was getting out, short-timer, and trying to establish a rapport with the community again. And he's really weird.
What do you mean he's weird? What was weird about him?
Well, I don't know. First of all, you might take offense to this being from New York. But, City Slick is...
I played this one already. Duh. Give me a second, guys. Let me get another the right one. I apologize profusely for that. So here he is saying that here. This is a good one.
I don't even know if you talk to girls. I know you tried, but I don't know. There's something about his character that just prevented people from getting anywhere near close to him. He was just so odd and eccentric.
So there he is saying that he was odd, eccentric, that people couldn't get close to him, but somehow or other he was involved in a huge conspiracy with 20 other people to do satanic rituals called Son of Sam. So here he is talking about Carr's drug use.
You met him at a party with mutual friends.
Yeah.
What kind of guy was he at that time? He was still in the service, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of hard to pin. Yeah, I mean, any sort of a real label on.
Well, was he straight? Was he on anything?
Well, the cat was always on something. I got that impression from day one.
Love that.
Well, what was he doing? Was he doing acid? Was he doing angel dust?
Acid, dust, mescaline.
Mescaline.
How about heroin or coke?
Coke, yeah. Heroin, I don't know about.
Mescaline, that's interesting.
There was coke around, but most of the junkies were in the closet yet. It's a pretty straight place.
So he was doing hallucinogens mostly?
Yeah.
Because the ones you mentioned, they're all hallucinogens.
Yeah. Mostly hallucinogens, a lot of smoke, and I guess speed every once in a while, like when he had to work and stuff, but he wasn't a speed rush guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if he was poking himself or not,
So it kind of confirmed what we were talking about with Tom Turkey, that Carr was a pretty heavy user.
So yeah, it sounds like he did a lot of drugs. He was in the military, he was in the Air Force. There's an Air Force base in Minot, North Dakota. Let's see where else is this. Now what we're listening to here is the Grossman Files. and they are playing old interviews with people that were associated with the John Carr, who was killed in Minot, North Dakota, who was supposedly a part of the cult, satanic cult, that included David Berkowitz, who ended up the Son of Sam killer. So Larry, let's play a little bit more here.
Drugs. I don't think someone like that would be trusted by an international cult to be an accomplice in shooting, but that's just my editorial comment. And of course, here is Falcon talking about Carr's drug dealing.
Now, after he got out of the service, what was he doing to make a living?
Dropping a little drugs here and there. Living on his service severance pay, I guess.
Yeah, nothing lasts forever. Was he pushing anything up there?
Oh, he dealt little drugs, but it was like nickel dime shit, you know?
What was he pushing?
Pot, a little speed.
Where was he getting it from?
I have no
A
idea.
local source or an out-of-town source?
Huh?
Local source out of town.
I believe it was out of town.
You don't know where, though?
No.
Now,
So basically, what's the impression you're getting of John Carr from Phil Falcon's testimony?
Yeah, I mean, like like a lot of drug users, he's probably dealing in little drugs to support his own habit. He doesn't seem like a social butterfly. John Carr sounds very antisocial to me,
Right.
in this description. Certainly doesn't seem like the leader of a gang or a drug cartel or a cult.
Freaking salt.
And they didn't seem to have the ideal friendship either.
Right. They didn't seem all that close. He seemed like, to me, it seemed like Falcon kept this guy at arm's length for sure. I mean, that's the impression I'm getting. Certainly not someone that's going to know intimate details about this guy's life. So our next topic, of course, now gets into the actual forensics, the issues that Maury brings up. And of course, the biggie is, of course, the nickname Wheaties. Okay. Now, there's a big controversy right now going on in Son of Sam land because we are the first people to say the Emperor has no clothes, that John Carr's nickname was, in fact, not Wheaties. There's no proof of it in the real world. Berkowitz found the name John Wheat in the phone book. He conflated two people and turned them into one. And then over time, John Wheat became John Wheaties because Berkowitz just was kind of trolling the guy. But what was interesting about these tapes, John, is that we don't have any audio about this. Why? I mean, were you able to find any place in these tapes where he confirms that this nickname was Wheaties?
No,
Wheaties. I'd never heard that. That's interesting.
So that's basically that. We don't have any audio to play you because there was literally in over an hour and a half, there was not one shred of audio, not even 1 second of audio where Phil Falcon confirms that the nickname was Wheaties. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, but he confirmed it to Maury. Well,
right. Well, then why didn't he confirm it to Lifer? You know?
Right. And also this tape of Maury's, is it in the room with us now? Where is this tape? Where does it exist? Who has seen the transcript of it? I can't trust that Maury actually told the truth about this because he's lied about so many things. So in the absence of actual evidence, and Maury's word is not good enough, I'm just going to I personally am calling bullshit on Phil Falcon confirming that his nickname was Wheaties.
He absolutely did not confirm that John's nickname was Wheaties. I don't know where Maury got the Wheaties patch story from because I can't find anything about that. Certainly wasn't on Falcon's tape. So,
right.
You know, as I said before, this is like an ongoing pattern of every topic. I compare what Maury said in the book to what's really said in these interviews.
Exactly. And let's just say that Maury did have this conversation with him that we've never heard, that there's no transcript of. Or here he's saying on one of his jackets, he even had a patch with a Wheaties box sewn on the shoulder, Falcon said. Okay, well,
Falcon was so descriptive to him. But when he was talking to Light, he didn't mention that?
He didn't even sound like he knew this guy from a hole in the wall, basically. He had just met him like a little bit.
He made it sound like they had a very arm's length kind of friendship. John would pop in.
You know, it's so amazing how this. God, that was what 50, almost 50 years ago that those hack killings happened, and people are still so interested in it, and they're still, breaking down everything that had happened to try to understand, and it's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's weird.
Shop. They came by his house a few times. I mean, he didn't act like they were strangers, but certainly they weren't best of friends. And it doesn't appear that he knew him a very long time.
Right, and certainly not enough time to be looking at his wardrobe to know what patches he had sewn on this jacket. I'm calling bullshit on this. There's absolutely no evidence whatsoever where Falcon said this, and just because Maury said it in the book doesn't mean anything to me, because we've already caught Maury in a million lies.
And Weed has also denied it. I know nobody believes Weed Carr, but I asked her, and she said John's nickname was never Wheaties.
Right, exactly. And we have never found anybody in Yonkers except for the usher who in 2021 told Neo that he was bullshitting me because he just wanted to mess with me. That's the only guy who ever told me that John's nickname was Wheaties, and it came out a decade, 2 decades later almost, that he was lying. So we're getting closer and closer to the money shot, the satanic ritual. But before we get there, John Carr's guns. Okay, so of course here we have a very, very clear and unequivocal statement. Phil Falcon also said that Carr owned either a 44 or a 45. Okay, there's no mistaking what he says here. This is reported. It's one sentence long. It's pretty cut and dry. So why don't we just listen to what Phil Falcon had to say about these so-called guns?
John liked guns.
Did he what?
Have guns.
Have
Guns,
trust?
No, do you have any?
I don't know.
Any guns on? Did he ever carry a gun?
Yeah,
What did he carry?
I don't remember.
Handgun or
Handgun.
Handgun? Automatic or revolver?
Revolver.
Short or long barrel?
It wasn't a short barrel, not a really short barrel, but it wasn't like Wyatt Earp Bunting either.
You grew up your whole life in that area, right?
What's that?
You spent your whole life up there, right?
Right.
And you've seen lots of guns, right?
Well, a fair number.
All right. What did he have?
I don't know. Most of the guns we see are shotguns and 30-06s and shit, I mean, handguns are pretty much out in North Dakota.
Well, was it a penny? Would he carry in his pocket? Did he have a shoulder holster?
He had it in his van.
Had it in his van? Remember, was it large caliber or small caliber?
It was like a 38 sort of just a regular pistol with a revolving barrel and a medium-sized front end.
How long would you say the front end was?
God, I don't know.
How many inches?
5 inches, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
So not only does he not say 44 or 45, he says he doesn't have a freaking clue and that it could have been a 38. John, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean it's just like it's just stuff. I see stuff like this every time you ask me to come on and talk about this stuff. I go back to the book and I compare it to what the interviews actually say, and he, when you read that part in the Ultimate Evil, you say, "Wow, Phil Falcon confirmed he had a 44 or a 45, but it was probably a 44." I mean, that's the impression that I got.
Exactly. Right? Maury doesn't have to say anything. He just implies, and then he allows you to fill in those blanks.
Right.
But
and his other trick is the omission. Anytime information contrary to his thesis presents itself, it's omitted. So he never mentioned that Falcon mistakenly said it might have been a 38.
Right, or
the 44 he was describing. He just glanced right by that, just like he glanced by things that were said in the Lamino DeMasi report, just like he glanced by things that were in the Voscarician report. I mean, every subject we cover, it's the same pattern.
It's just unbelievable. And he also omitted that basically Falcon was like, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't. I mean, he just had no clue.
Right.
So again, this one is a good one. Let me just quickly just cue up the audio real quick, my friend. Give me a second here, and then we'll get right to this. There we go. All right. So what are we talking about here? John Carr and David Berkowitz. This now we're starting to get to the real money shots. We're getting to the so-called friendship between Carr and Berkey, and of course the pièce de résistance, the famous hardcore satanic animal sacrifice ritual that John Carr was involved with. But of course, before we get there, we have to get to this whole thing about Dave Berkowitz and John Carr knowing each other. Phil Falcon made a significant statement. He never called him David or Dave. I didn't know it was Berkowitz. He just used to talk about his friend Berkey in Yonkers. So as Berkowitz knew Carr's nickname, so did Carr knows Berkowitz's, one of which was in fact Berkey. All right, so we just have to listen to the audio. I mean, this is pretty easy to do, guys. This is not very hard. We just find what's in the book and then listen to the tape, and then we compare the two. Let's listen to what Falcon said about John Carr and David Berkowitz.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever hear John mention anything about David Berkowitz?
David Berkowitz. No.
You know who he is, don't you?
The Son of Sam guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear anything about him mentioned by John or his friend Steve?
About who?
About Berkowitz. That John or Steve ever mentioned?
I don't think I've ever heard them ever mention Berkowitz. I just...
He just said straight up he never heard of them ever mentioning David Berkowitz. And then here in The Ultimate Evil, he's talking about Berkey and Yonkers. I didn't know it was Berkowitz. It was Berkey, his friend Berkey. I mean, John, talk to me.
Okay. So, Matt, we're listening to the audio tapes of an old 70s interview with Phil Falcon, who was a gentleman up in North Dakota back during the Son of Sam killings. A gentleman by the name of John Carr, who Falcon is talking about, was associated with David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam killer. And the interview that they found, these Grossman files guys claim that maybe John Carr didn't know who Berkowitz was. So that's what we're kind of listening to. It's really interesting. I mean, not a lot of people are into this, but I think it's pretty
about this.
I mean, could you imagine, if Falcon would have said that to Leifer, Leifer might have flew to New York and went to see Berkowitz immediately. These guys wanted to bring a case, Manny. I know people don't believe that, but Santucci was egging them on to find something. So could you imagine, if Falcon would have actually said that to him, they would have been excited as an understatement.
Absolutely.
It never happened. It was never said. I don't know where he...
So these guys that are talking now, the Grossman files, they're trying to prove that Maury Terry, the guy who wrote the book, The Ultimate Evil, lied and said that this John Carr did not know David Berkowitz. So they've been investigating this for a while. The curious thing about this whole thing is, if you read The Ultimate Evil, there's a chapter in there called Why Not, Minot. And it's basically about this John Carr who was brutally murdered, who was associated with satanic cults up here back in the late 70s and early 80s or late 70s because he was killed. But satanic cults were huge up here in North Dakota, especially in the Minot. There's a small town west of here called Tagus, Tagus. These places are just renowned. And growing up here and dozens of times we saw some really weird shit. We had friends that were involved in that kind of stuff, and it was kind of hush hush. And of course, the officials, the Minot officials, they were like, "Oh no." But there was seventh and eighth grade here, or in Minot, when I was going to school up at Jim Hill Junior High. There was letters that were written to the editor those 2 years in a row from a cult saying, "Keep your children at home. We're going to be looking for them. You know, if you take your kids trick or treating, it's all on you. We're looking to do some killing." So a lot of people didn't go trick or treating those 2 years. Me and my friends, we didn't care. We just hung out and watched horror movies anyway. But it was really big up in this area during that time, the satanic panic kind of thing. And we were just, I've always been interested in it. Just what would, cause a person to want to do that. And, was it the music they were listening to? Was it the movies they were watching? Did their parents suck and didn't teach them about God and Jesus? But, yeah, so we're just kind of listening to that right now. It's interesting.
Got the stones to put that in print. Maybe he, thought nobody would ever find out. Maybe he thought no one would care, no one would sue him.
Well, listen, man.
Big shot.
It gets
printing, out and out lies. And
just a total out and out lie.
Yeah.
And it gets even worse. And now this isn't Phil Falcon's tape. This is a little aside that I want to take, but it bespeaks of the same exact issue that we just had with Phil Falcon, David Berkowitz, and John Carr. This is a conversation that we actually did cover when we covered the Maury tapes on our show about almost a year ago now on our roundtable, which I believe you were a part of, John.
Yeah.
But this is a little excerpt from the Maury tape where the same guy who was just talking to Phil Falcon is talking to Maury, and he's bringing up the fact, well, let's just have the audience listen to this.
Oh, Berkowitz was in North Dakota on a couple of occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have that?
Nope. I've never had David in North Dakota.
Okay. Well, according to what I saw, he was.
I mean, when you say according to what you saw,
Heard.
No, without telling me what you saw.
Written correspondence.
From David to another person.
Yeah.
From North Dakota.
From David to another person.
Saying he was there.
Right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Any period of time?
No period of time. No period of time.
I mean, because you know that you were there, and nobody identified him as being there.
Wasn't really asked of anybody except Taylor, and he squirmed all over the place on it. Okay?
Because our guys did.
Okay.
And you don't even have pictures of him.
And what?
They had pictures of David.
Yeah.
And nobody ever, or everyone they went to, they asked.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, Craig, the school, Country, Darlene, Leslie, I don't recall who else they saw.
Well, remember, Lyndon Craig didn't enter into the picture until late.
But all those people were showing pictures and no one
Yeah.
saw.
Okay. I'm just telling you what.
Manny.
Oh my God, yeah.
So for all the folks at home, they went around and showed Berkowitz's picture to everybody in North Dakota that had a connection to John Carr. And not one of them, not a single one of them, identified and said, yes, he was in North Dakota.
Not a single solitary soul. Not one out of every person they asked. And John, you know as well as I do that Maury told the exact opposite in the book. He said everybody ID'd Berkowitz out there.
Yeah, well, he actually tried to tell Lifer that until Lifer had to explain life to him.
It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I mean, I suggest people go and listen to that Maury tape in full because they shoot him down like you wouldn't believe. They treat him like he's mentally ill, and for good reason, because he was sending them on a wild goose chase that ended up turning up absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
and
I mean, anybody that's interested in the case, or anybody that, even people that love the Ultimate Evil book, that website, and these interviews are a treasure trove. They're enjoyable because you're interested in the subject, and I don't know why everybody hasn't listened to every one of them. They're great.
The people who are avoiding these tapes like the plague are the people who believe in the cult story. It's unbelievable how not one of them has actually listened to this stuff.
It's weird.
John,
All these characters that you read about come to life. You can hear their voices, their responses, and you're going to form your opinion regardless on the facts. So
this is in true crime history, in my opinion, in the modern era, this is the most important trove of evidence that has ever been released in any case whatsoever.
Wow.
And the beautiful thing about the Queen's DA stuff is that it's all about the so-called conspiracy, because they were going out and investigating Maury Terry's claims.
Oh,
There's
man,
not one shred of evidence in these files that proves Maury's claims. In fact, quite the opposite.
Woo!
So
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know what John Santucci's motives were. If he had aspiring to be mayor or attorney general of New York, but we might have to do a little investigation on that, because for whatever reason he bought Maury's story hook, line, and sinker, and he wanted to make a go of it. And you could see that Leifer and his guys, Armiente and the other investigator, they tried, and they tried to get information, and they did a real investigation.
They did, and in fact, the tapes that we're about to hear, which are going to be a little bit meaty, long, and dense, show Leifer and Armiente really trying to get to the bottom of everything, and failing miserably. And it's not because they were bad investigators.
I believe he was nuts
nothing
too.
at all to find out.
He was crazy.
Maury,
the only thing is, and if these guys are going to claim that there's nothing going on satanic wise up here in North Dakota at the time, they're full of shit, because I've seen things, and you can ask anybody from my Generation Xers who grew up with that up here. It was all over the place up here. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing a freaking pentagram somewhere, or freaking dead German shepherds piled up by the cemetery doors, or So this will get interesting here. Let's see what happens.
Exactly, they were beating a dead horse, and the biggest dead horse to beat, in my opinion, was the whole idea of John Carr as a hardcore Satanist. So I'm putting out there. So we're asking the question: was he in fact a hardcore Satanist? So just as we found out that John Carr's nickname was in fact not Wheaties, I personally, I'm not speaking for John here. John can speak for himself, but I am putting out, because I already know the punchline here. You guys are going to learn the punchline in a little while when you listen to the tapes. But I'm putting out the proclamation that John Carr had absolutely no hardcore interest in Satanism whatsoever. He was not part of a cult. He was not part of a coven. He certainly wasn't doing rituals in Untermeyer Park or any of this kind of stuff. And the reason why is because of what we're about to hear. John, do you have anything to add before we read reread these passages and listen to the tapes?
Yeah, I'm going to say that I 100% believe he dabbled.
Me too.
I don't know that he was involved with the process. I haven't really seen anything that connected him to Untermeyer, except for Brother John's testimony, which is kind of hard to swallow, because he tells so many tales about famous crimes throughout history. He's like the Forrest Gump of everything dark.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it was beneath him, but I just don't think to the extent that Maury portrayed his occult participation. I don't think it was as much.
See, now, I don't know.
As Maury wanted us to think. I think he was a very important cult leader in Westchester.
No, exactly. And let's look at what Maury had to say. We're not going to read every little passage here, but Falcon went on to say that Carr belonged to cults in both Minot and Westchester County. All right, so there's one quote fact. All right, that Carr was was a member of cults in both. He said that the New York cult was very violent, large, and underground. He said that the Westchester group convened both indoors and outdoors. Here he is talking about the satanic ritual in his house. I came to my house, and here were Donnie and John. Falcon explained, when I walked in the door, they were in the kitchen, and Donnie had this animal, whatever it was. He had cut its throat. They were going to take it to the other room. There was a magic circle, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty unequivocal. In The Ultimate Evil, Maury Terry describes John Carr as a hardcore practicing Satanist that did satanic rituals that went all the way. And the implication, of course, John, was that all the way meant human sacrifice. And that's what I got out of the book. So I think it behooves us to listen to 2 tapes. Okay, so these are going to be the longest tapes that we listen to.
It's so interesting.
This is the most important stuff, in my opinion, of tonight. Yeah, of course, we learned that he never heard of David Berkowitz, that John Carr's nickname was not Wheaties. He had no idea what kind of guns he used. So let's listen to some of the things that Phil Falcon says about this hardcore Satanistic ritual in his house. Let's listen to this, and everybody just relax, get yourselves set, because we got a little bit of tapes to get through here. And of course, John, anytime you need to comment, please stop me, and I'll do the same.
Okay,
here we go, guys.
Now, I understand that John had some weird occupations.
Occupation.
Yeah. Like devils and dogs.
Oh, no, I don't know what the hell he was into. I really don't.
I don't know what he was into. Maury has him as a practicing hardcore Satanist belonging
weird.
to a huge violent coven that's underground, and their sacrifices went all the way.
yeah. So, right, Maury has Falcon providing all of this information, and Falcon doesn't know what he was into.
He doesn't know what he's into. All right, let's carry on.
It's not even close. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He ran into some other folks, and between all of them, they're all fucked up.
Well, tell me.
I agree with that.
Well, I lived with a guy who thought he was a witch.
What was his name?
Barry Dosenko.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we have to stop here because Barry Dosenko is a very important person to the moron. Who's Barry Dosenko?
According to them, Barry Dosenko is
Right. Barry Dosenko was a shooter in Son of Sam, particularly of just like John said, Stacy and Robert. And these people to this day still continue to talk about Barry Dosenko. All right, so let's carry on.
And his mother's a witch, and his father is a witch, and his grandparents were witches.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's for this culture, it's kind of a weird trip. For his own, I guess he's right in tune, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, he uses what's called white witchcraft. You know, you do good shit for good folks, and you run around like a Tinkerbell person.
Barry Dosenko was a white witch.
White witch.
yeah.
He did good things for good folks, and he ran around like a Tinkerbell.
Providing herbal tea.
Yeah, but he shot Robert Violante and Stacy Moskowitz.
Yeah. So far, there's just no mention of Barry being a Satanist.
Correct. All right, let's carry it on.
Okay, he got this guy out of a state mental institution in Florida. And this cat was really a never land.
When did this happen?
Oh, God. That same winter, early in the winter.
What year?
76.
And what was this cat's name?
Donnie Boone.
He was in a mental institution in Florida somewhere.
Right.
And
So Donnie Boone. All right, so he just introduced the character of Donnie Boone. So Donnie Boone, according to Phil Falcon, was a mental patient who Barry Dosenko got out of an institution somewhere and brought him to live with them. But in the book here, I don't hire operation in my house were Donnie and John, right? Like this makes it seem like they were like best friends.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But meanwhile, we're learning in this tape that this guy was a mental patient who just entered the scene like you know, a minute before. So let's carry on. This is quite interesting.
Your friend, what was his name
Yeah,
again?
right. Maybe they're part of the
Gary
satanic.
DeSanko.
Spell that, will you?
DOSSANKO.
You never know.
Sanko. What was his first name? Barry, you say?
Barry.
Yeah. And he got Boone out of the nut house in Florida.
Yeah.
And he brought him up to Minot.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Donnie didn't get any better. For a while, you know, he was, I don't know, he was coherent. He was back, you know, talking with people again and things and actually communicating. And then he withdrew into his own little world and started talking about weird shit, making crosses out of things, and just generally fucking up my house. He also lost all cognitive speech patterns. He'd rain on about things about this medicine woman who told him to climb Magic Mountain and all kinds of shit.
What did he have to do with John Carr?
Well, he and John Carr and Barry and Carr's friend from.
I'm sorry, what? And right, Steve.
It's really scary. I need to get a life. I can
New York.
tell you the whole story.
Right? They were all in
That's
my
this guy
apartment.
Steve.
Huh?
This guy Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they were all in my apartment that evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you that, you know, it was late afternoon. I came home, and later on, Barry came in and shit. And they started their voodoo bullshit, right? Calling demons from the graves and shit. And that's what they all had to do. That's what their common denominator is.
Huh.
They're all weird.
Mm-hmm. And what happened?
Well, I left him there pooky and went over to my coffee house.
Yeah, but something happened. When you came.
Okay, so now we're gonna find out what happened.
Okay.
So just to recap, from this tape, Barry Dosenko was a white witch, right?
Yes.
He was a Tinkerbell character. He was he loved to go around and do good for people. So that's a far cry from what the morons are talking about Barry Dosenko calling him the murderer of Stacy Moskowitz. We also learned that Donnie Boone was a mental patient from Florida who was brought up there, who wasn't really part of this group, who was just brought up there by Barry Dosenko. And then we learned that something took place in Phil Falcon's house, and now we are going to listen to in full a 17-minute long interview with Armienti, Michael Armienti, and Phil Falcon, going into great detail about this so-called satanic ritual. The only thing that's weird about this tape for me, it starts out with Herb saying, "Here's my friend Herb," and then Armienti gets on. It's kind of weird. Yeah, that's a little strange to me.
They were being wise asses. I guess he didn't want to give his name. He didn't want to give Armienti's name. But just one other thing.
Yeah.
Anybody interested? The only reason why they were at Falcon's house was because Falcon and Dosenko actually were roommates.
Right.
So Falcon kind of walked in on that. It's not as if they were all at Falcon's house like that. That was the regular hangout. They were there.
Right.
Dosenko was his roommate.
Right. Dosenko
lived there also.
Right. Dosenko brings in this guy, Donnie Boone, who was unknown to the rest of them, including John Carr, even though Maury makes it seem like they're best friends in satanic rituals together in the book.
Right. Why is everyone at Falcon's house doing a ritual? You know, there's a reason why they were there. Because Barry was there, and Donnie lived there, and John Carr was hanging out there. So.
Right. And there's a lot of subtleties that Maury Terry left out, which are extremely important, and which now we are all going to learn. So everybody sit back, relax, let's listen to this tape. It's extremely important true crime history. And John, of course, whenever you need me to stop, just yell out stop.
All right, his name is Herb. Here he is.
Yeah, Phil.
Yeah.
What I'm really interested in is any occult discussions you may have had with John, and any occult practices he may have had in New York. Okay. And I'm really not interested in all that other aspect of John Carr's life and drugs
wait a
and
minute.
things like that.
I have never been in New York, man.
No, I realize that. But he may have discussed it with you.
Oh, John, you mean?
Yeah. In other words, what I'd like to start with you is the point in which you first realized that John Carr was involved in the occult in Minot. Do you remember how that came about?
Yeah, him and his friend were sitting in my living room
Okay,
with the wizard.
this is Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, this person.
So it cuts off for a second, guys. I didn't edit this. This is just the way it is on the tape, and so I didn't want to edit it. And
I think these guys are full of shit. Actually, the guys that made this video that we're listening to.
Selective editor.
A selective editor like Maury. So this is just the way it is on the tape. Okay, it goes from take 2 to take 3.
John Carr, Steve, Barry DeSanko.
Who?
Barry DeSanko.
Barry DeSanko?
Right. And Donnie Boone.
Okay, where's DeSanko now?
He's farming in North Dakota.
He's farming in North Dakota? You know where in North Dakota?
Butte.
Excuse me?
Butte, North Dakota.
Oh, hold on a second. Okay, I want to get a pen. Okay, that's DeSanto.
DeSanko. DOSSANKO.
I'm sorry?
DOSSANKO.
Gasenko.
Okay. And what's the name of that town?
Butte. BUTTE.
How far is that from Minot?
About 70 miles.
Okay. Okay, so DeSanko and who's that other person that was with Steve and John?
I'm sorry, the truck
Yeah.
is passing here.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Who was that other person that was with Steve and John?
Donnie Boone.
Okay, where's Donnie Boone now?
Arizona someplace.
You don't know where?
Don't know where.
Okay. All right, so you walked in and the 4 of them were in the house.
Right.
Right, what were they doing?
Talking.
You know what?
When I walked in, they were talking.
You know what they were talking about?
I walked in the house, and Donnie Boone had just fashioned a big cross. I had a couple sculpture projects or classes in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to hurry up and finish up some sculptures out of plaster Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And Donnie had gotten into my school supplies, which were in the kitchen,
Right.
and had plaster Paris all over the kitchen, all over himself, all over the living room. He made a big cross and covered with red paint.
Was the cross upside down or right side up?
Well, the cross is right side up when I first got there.
Uh-huh.
Later on, I found out it was their ceremony cross. So, anyway, I walked into the kitchen, and the first thing I saw was Donnie Boone covered with red with this cross. And I thought, I knew the guy was a fruit, and I figured he'd just fucking cut his throat or something, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I was really, hey, what's going on, you know? And I said, oh, I made a cross. Then I got pissed, because he had all my shit out, fucking red paint all over and shit.
So wait a second. I had to stop. It's fucking red paint. Not even blood.
I was gonna say, Manny, bring blood in the living room.
Yeah. So far, it's just been red paint.
Got a feeling I'm gonna get
and guys talking. Okay, so let's carry on.
So,
You didn't know they were in your house. They just walked in?
huh?
They just walked into your house without your permission?
No, the Wiz, Barry DeSanko and I.
Do you want to say anything?
Was Armiente listening to the whole conversation he had with Leifa? They're constantly making him repeat this story.
I know.
Maybe that's a tactic.
But if you think about it, that's smart because that's probably a tactic because just to see if he would give different stories. But he was remarkably consistent. But it's only in Maury's testimony, which of course the world has never seen a transcript or heard of, where he's contradicting it 180 degrees.
So frustrating.
It's just like Cecilia Davis all over again. It's unbelievable. All right, let's carry it on.
All right, we're renting the house together.
I see.
But he was hardly ever there, and I was hardly ever there.
Uh-huh.
He was working at his farm, I was at school.
Right.
His hired hand, this Donnie Boone, stayed at the house most of the time with another fellow who was my roommate.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so anyhow, I came home and he was doing this bullshit, making this cross for these guys, and they're in my living room rapping, right? So I went in and smoked a couple joints and said howdy and shit, and found out that this is this Steve guy from New York, and he come to visit, and they were going to have some sort of a hodgepodge, call him out of the depths sort of thing. What do they call it? Seance sort of affair. And I went upstairs and took my bath and got ready for my bullshit that night. You know, I had to work at the coffee house. I came back downstairs and they had cut up this cat. And I had fucking blood all over my kitchen floor and the living room. And I said, no, this is fucking about it, man. You know.
All right, so now we get the cat involved.
So now we get the blood.
It was a squirrel in the book. Now it's a cat, but at least now we have a living, breathing animal involved.
Was it? Did he say a squirrel in the book?
I believe he did say it was squirrel in the book. So, all right, so let's continue on. And so far, Donnie Boone is the instigator of all of this. I haven't heard John Carr's name once mentioned in this, except he was present.
It's funny how Falcons is. He was in a nut house in Florida.
Yeah. All right, let's carry on.
And take your shit and get. I don't give a fuck who you are. And Barry got mad. Barry is a white witch.
Barry
Barry
Sanko?
DeSanko, the guy from North Dakota.
Right.
You know, like he wouldn't fucking kill a mouse. Much.
So now Barry wouldn't kill a mouse. He was a white witch, and he was mad at this ritual.
Apparently, this Barry was like an earthy, smoke my pot, you know,
He's a good
mix my
witch.
little potions.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they could tag this guy as an occultist murderer, and other people describe him like 180 degrees to the opposite.
Total opposite. It's unbelievable.
So hard to understand this whole thing, man.
All right, let's carry on because I have a feeling it's going to get worse and worse.
Plus a dog or something. His family has been witches for generations, and they've always been white witches. You know, it's God's guardian angel sort of guy. So anyhow, he got upset at this other nonsense, and so anyhow, we both left. I went to the coffee house, and I think he took his chick or something. Went to get his chick.
What was the setting like when they were cutting, when you came back down the second time? How was that cross?
I don't know. I had some large brass candelabras that I brought back from Vietnam. And they were sitting like on a table. I think they just lit those.
Okay, so you got what's going on here is what they're describing. I guess the night that John Carr was murdered. These guys that we're listening to, I don't know how legit they are. I think they've been studying the Son of Sam killing, you know, for years. But they've edited the tapes, like the tapes that we're listening to, the old school tapes. So I don't really. Now let's just keep listening. Let's
Fuckers and started into it. I don't know.
What did they say? Do you remember any conversations they had centering around this ceremony?
Well, I came in when they started their little chant on I don't know, in fucking Latin or whatever it was. They had a book out in front of them, you know, throwing out some bullshit there.
Right.
I couldn't even understand the language. Could have been Greek.
Mm-hmm. Did they say anything in English?
No,
I'm listening to
this
some
Steve guy,
shit library.
fucking, when I told him he could take his shit and get, you know, he told me he was going to put a spell on me, that he had some of my hair.
Uh-huh.
And, I just fucking laughed at the dude, you know, because, I'm in India. And I told him, you know, your fucking white man hocus pocus shit just don't work on Indians. No more than my Indian things work on you. So I just forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we left.
Do you know, did John Carver talk about that again?
No. He
Yeah,
asked
talk
what I
about
thought of Steve, and I told him I thought the dude sucked. And we never talked about him again after.
What about this witchcraft stuff?
I never saw John fuck with that at all.
Before or afterwards?
Just that one time.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't he say in the book that he was a member of a large practicing violent underground cult whose witchcraft went all the way and sacrifices went all the way? And
yes.
he
in
just
New
said,
York and in North Dakota.
Yeah.
he just said literally that he never saw John screw around with any of this stuff before or after.
Okay, so Hannah just said in the chat that DeCinco in his interview said he left. Nobody's saying you have to believe any of these people, but
Or you guys.
we're talking about when we compare what we were told in the Ultimate Evil that they said to Maury, they never seem to say to Lifer or to Armiente. So, you know, you're free to believe or not believe all of these people. That's a little bit beside the point.
Right. And also, like, these things are ultimately kind of insignificant. Like, if Falcon didn't remember who left at what particular time, to me, it's not a significant detail. The significant detail is that he never heard Berkowitz's name. He never saw John Carr do any of this occult stuff. Donnie Boone was the instigator of this whole so-called ritual. And those are the bigger things. But Hannah's a good viewer, and it is good that these things are said, because it also means, John, that our viewership is actually listening to the tapes, which is super important.
I mean,
it also
sometimes,
means that the guy was stoned.
You have to take things with a grain.
He was tired.
I don't think any of these people are upstanding citizens.
Neither do I.
They say.
In fact, I think Phil Falcon's being evasive in these tapes about his own personal, life and history. I just don't think it has anything to do with Son of Sam.
Very possible. You know what would be ideal, Manny? If Maury Terry would have played his tapes when he interviewed Falcon.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping everything under his bed in a box,
right,
and using pseudonyms and hiding evidence from everyone, maybe he should have enlightened us. But we only have what we have.
Right.
And that's what we use. Right.
If this tape ever comes out of Phil Falcon telling a different story, I'll be the first person to put it on the air.
Same here.
And we'll have another one of these shows. Yeah. So let's carry on.
Do you ever talk about it?
So just remember, for context, Falcon just said that John Carr never spoke about the occult, never was into the occult before or after. That's the conversation that's happening right now.
In the end of his, John became really incoherent at the end of our acquaintance.
Right.
I mean, really incoherent, like a fucking babbling idiot. And the shit that he said, none of it made any sense. Most of the time, I just didn't listen. I'd just be polite and say, "Oh, good, have some tea or something."
Did he ever talk about this occult or witch stuff having taken place in New York?
No.
Did he ever talk about participating in it in New York?
He never talked about any of that shit ever. Mm-hmm. All the
direct contradiction to what Maury said. Direct.
But
it couldn't be more
doing
contradictory to what Maury said.
And why was he doing it with them?
And these are the issues that we're having.
time I knew him.
It was just that one time.
Just that one time.
But this guy Barry DeSanco, he would know a lot about it, though.
Well, I don't know. Barry only met those cats a couple times too,
But I mean these practices. You
said it's just practice. There's a difference between
why don't these
keeping
guys
catalogs on herbs and shit, for canker disorders, and
But
cutting
and why
open
don't these
dogs.
guys find any tapes of the police interviews that happened up here in North Dakota with the death of John Carr? I wonder if there are any. We could find some. Maybe talk about that next week. They're trying to make it look like Maury Terry was just lying and blah blah blah, fabricating the truth. I mean, who fucking doesn't do that? He wants to make an interesting book, right?
The glory stuff.
Devils from the earth.
Yeah. Yeah, is that the kind of stuff that the Sanko's involved in?
Yeah, he was more like a herb guy, you know.
Uh-huh. Oh, he was more like an herb guy?
Yeah, Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the extent of his white witchcraft.
So you were surprised to see him cut up the cat?
What?
You were surprised to see him?
Yeah, well, Barry didn't do it.
Who did it?
Yeah.
It was Donnie?
Fucking Donnie Boone.
Yes.
Just as a side note.
Yeah.
If you listen, for people that listen to the DeSanko interview, they didn't leave off on great terms, Falcon and DeSanko. They weren't enemies, but apparently Falcon robbed some stuff from him or whatever, some window.
Uh-huh.
But you could see Falcon kind of goes out of his way to say nice things about him and to say, hey, wait a second, this guy wasn't into all that. He was into this herbs and white witch stuff. So that means a little something to me.
It does, because if they did leave on bad terms, but he's still saying good things about him, it's most likely the truth.
Right.
Donnie Boone was a fucking vegetable too, man. I mean, he's card-carrying paper vegetable. I put up with him because the rent was cheap and I didn't stay there much anyhow.
Right. Did you ever hear of anything like this going on around Minot before?
I don't know.
Besides the herb practices?
No, the herbal things, you know, everybody's interested in herbs. Minot has less faith in doctors than it does in licorice.
You can hear the frustration in Armiente's voice. He's just like, what the hell am I even doing with all this? You can just hear it in his voice.
Yeah, I think they...
You're just hearing about the satanic shit that's involved in it,
It was
man.
sent like on a semi goose chase.
Exactly. All right, let's carry it on.
The cross that Donnie Boone had painted red, the cross that Donnie Boone had painted red,
Yeah.
That wasn't blood, was it?
No, it was paint.
It was paint. And what did they do with the blood?
Huh?
What did they do with the blood they had drained the cat?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The blood that they had drained from the cat.
Yeah.
What did they do with that?
I don't know. I came in when Donnie was walking out of the kitchen with the blood, with the cat, and had cut the cat's head off. And that's when I fucking picked up my shit and got.
Yeah, shit.
Didn't they report that they were drinking the blood? Like, wasn't that a big thing with the Maury?
I think Maury said one or two of them, John and Donnie, might have drank it. I'm pretty positive.
I'm almost sure about that too. Here, and of course, here he is saying that never happened.
And they're doing a satanic ritual. They're
You know if they drank it.
Huh?
Or at least he didn't see that happen.
Right.
That's something. Do you know if they drank any of that blood?
I have no idea what the fuck they did.
Of course they did.
I just left them do their shit.
Do you know of John Carr ever drinking human urine? Or any kind of urine? You never heard of that?
No.
How about Turkey? Was he involved in this kind of stuff?
Turkey was involved in his music.
Yeah, library. There's a lot of like, you know, it's kind of one of those towns that maybe a lot of stuff gets brushed under the table kind of thing, you know. Everybody's all hoity-toity, clean cut. Go to church every Sunday, pray to God, confess their sins, makes them all ready, all better for the rest of the week. Ree, what's up, dude? We're watching, listening to some Son of Sam tapes.
That's it. I don't think he ever gave a thought to it. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he wasn't involved. Well, no, I can't say that either. Maybe it was. Who knows? I didn't know Turkey well either, you know. I'd say we were closer together being musicians, you know. He certainly seemed normal to me.
This Steve character, was there ever a last name mentioned?
No, I can't think of. I'm sure there was, but I can't think of it.
If I gave you a few last names, you think you may remember?
God, I don't know. I just went through this with your buddy here.
Oh, did he mention his last names? I'll mention him anyway. Trackman.
What?
Trackman. Stephen Trackman. Is that
Trackman. Here it is.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Now, this is Reeve Rockman,
Johnny
right?
and
The
Donnie,
so-called
always
guy
drinking
who
that
was
blood.
involved with Son of Sam and John, and of course, it was all originally came from Veronica Lukin and Detective Chinati, and was found to be a total hoax. But they gave him the name. He didn't come out with the name on his own.
Right. I believe they gave everyone there the name. So when they constantly refer to Trackman, and I think we've done it too, talking about it.
Right.
I think that's the name they were provided. They were asked to describe John's friend from New York, and I don't think any of them came out and said yes. His name was Trackman. And
No.
they
Talked into the symbol because Armienti showed him the Son of Sam symbol, and then Turkey was like, "Yeah, that was it, man." Unbelievable. Let's carry it on.
His last name?
Trackman is the guy's name.
You positive, Phil?
I remember Trackman. Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. Is there anything that I may have not asked you that you think I should know?
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about it, actually.
Any other aspect of John Carr's personality or character that I may have not asked you about that you feel I should know?
I don't know. I tell you, if I were you, I'd go to the Air Force shrink guys and get his records. Because he went with them cats for a long time, and I'm sure they've got notes on him for probably fill books.
Yeah.
You know, probably all your questions be answered there.
Let's see.
Huh.
Oh, I can't think of anything else. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, I was talking to you before. Let me ask you, so we won't have to bother anyone. Where will you be next to me if ever we want to talk to you again?
Well, I will be right here until the first of the year, and somewhere around the first year or so, I'm going to move down to Phoenix, Arizona.
You have an address down in Phoenix, or
No, I don't, not yet. I believe it'll be in the Scottsdale area, though. I hope to get a job with a firm down there.
What, are you staying where you are now, working?
I beg your pardon?
Are you going to continue working where you are now? No, you're in Washington now, right?
Right.
What's the name of the town?
Do what?
What town are you in?
I'm in Maple Valley.
Maple Valley.
I don't think they can either. Shrinks can't, unless it can cause harm to another person. I can't remember. I don't think so. I think it's that Hippocratic oath or whatever.
Right. You're going to stay in Maple Valley now till the end of the year.
Well, I stay outside of Maple Valley about 10 miles or so. And I don't have a phone, which is why I'm calling you from the main street here.
Is there any place we can reach you in Maple Valley between now and the end of the year?
I tell you, if you wanted to reach me, it'd be best if you sent me a letter and I could call you back.
Oh, why don't we do this, Phil? How about in about 2 weeks from now?
Isn't that crazy?
You call us collect again. And if we want...
Isn't that crazy? This was what, 1977, 78 or whatever? Yeah, 70, probably 78. And it's like, we'll send you a letter. We'll send you a letter with, send me a letter. Now it's like,
if we feel there's any urgency in getting in touch with you, maybe we can call Dan at R&R.
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Okay.
All right, so I'm figuring about 2 weeks. Give me a call collect around the same time you did today.
Okay, what's that come out to here? About the 20th or something?
Let's see, what's today?
Figure around the end of the year. Figure around the 27th or 28th.
All right.
All right?
Okay.
Now, if we want to drop you a line out in Minot, you said you got an address out there, a contact where people you speak to.
So we just got to bear with this a little bit. I should have edited this stuff out because it's not really pertinent, but they do start asking him questions again towards the end. So everybody, it's just a couple more minutes. Just hang with this.
Periodically?
My grandma.
Could you give us your grandmother's name and address? If we want to speak to you, we can drop her a line, and if you speak to her, then you can get back to us.
It's Post Office Box 13.
P.O. Box 13.
Trenton, North Dakota.
Trenton?
Trenton, Trenton,
Trenton, North Dakota. Right.
58601.
860. And the name?
And the name Mrs. Albert Falcon.
That's your grandmother. Okay, so in other words, if we want to reach you, we can drop her a line and ask her to please contact you for us.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, well, Phil, I just want to ask you one thing. Do you know if John Carver went to Bismarck?
Arliss Perry.
I couldn't tell you. I think he probably has been down there a couple times.
Do you know if they practice any of this gruesome occult in Bismarck?
In Bismarck?
Yeah, anywhere in Bismarck?
Boy, I don't know. I've been out of that town for a long time, but I haven't heard of any heebie-jeebie.
In the book, The Ultimate Evil, one of the chapters starts off with down in Bismarck, there's a Catholic college, University of Mary. It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful, beautiful university there. And there was a murder there that was very graphic. I can't recall exactly, but I know it involved a girl, an altar, and a couple of candlesticks in the book. And I think that's the reason why he's asking if John Carr had ever been to Bismarck and all that. Because on where the university's at, the University of Mary, it's along the river. I can't remember the river that goes into the Missouri River that goes through Bismarck. But there's a lot of caves. And me and my friends have been down in there too. And there's a lot of satanic. There was, at least back in, God, this would have been 89, 90, when we were down there messing around and trying to see, what kind of weirdness that was. Yeah, it was extremely grisly. Ultimate Evil. It's The Ultimate Evil by Maury Terry. It's the book based on the Son of Sam killings. And what was I saying? Yeah, there's caves down there, and just like I said, I don't care what anybody says. They're lying, or they just didn't do their research. This area, North Dakota, central North Dakota, was huge in cults back in the 80s. Massive. Okay, here we go. Hey, man.
He's down there.
Okay.
And as you were saying earlier, no chicks that you know of with dating John.
Just so everybody can get that, in case that was a little distorted. Herb Leifer just asked, no chicks that you know of were dating John. So no girls were dating John. Let's hear what Phil Falcon has to say.
Okay, so is there anything else?
Yeah, the only other thing, Phil, is let me ask you, again, do you have recollection any girls you know of used to go out with John?
Do I what?
Do you know any girls he dated?
I really don't.
Or slept with, or screwed around with?
I really don't.
Did he hang around with young girls? Like 13, 14?
God, I can't think of any girls that he hung around with at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know I used to watch him try and score on girls and shit that came in the coffee house and stuff, but that was a pretty lost cause. He just was not a ladies' man at all. Part of it was his acne, part was his bad breath, some was his dandruff, most was his noxious, so...
Hey, did you ever notice anything he used to wear around his neck, any jewelry?
No, he used to wear sweaters a lot.
You ever notice anything that he wore around his neck, any jewelry or nothing? You know, all the guys who wear all kinds of stuff, they think they're Indians nowadays. You never notice anything like that?
No.
Matt, they said that the book says that he did, but these guys, while they're interviewing this Falcon, said that he had never seen Berkowitz or never even heard anybody talking about him. So I don't know if he just wasn't into the crowd that they were, hanging out with. There's a lot of unanswered stuff that you can't pinpoint, but I don't know of any, but yet, who knows if he lived up here. I don't believe he did. But it doesn't mean he didn't go through here, because that's what the thing is with the Minot Air Force Base, is that was the connection to Queens, New York, and San Francisco with this gun. So, yeah. So I don't know if he did, Matt. I haven't.
No, I don't.
Good. All right, well, look, thanks a lot for the information. And if you'll get back to us the 27th to 28th of December.
Okay.
Okay? And if we need you bad, we can write you grandma.
Okay.
Right, you grandma.
Okay, thanks a lot, Phil.
Yeah, hey, next time I talk to you guys, I'm going to pick a nice place where I can sit down.
That's a good idea.
You been standing up all this time?
Yeah, it's a drag. Okay, have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well,
That was crazy.
I mean, it can't get any starker than that.
You know what, Manny?
Hmm.
For whatever reason, you gave Maury a little bit of a pass, and I've just decided that I'm just not willing to give him that pass.
Wait. Pass on what?
I want to mention something here.
Sure.
So when you read this chapter, Maury has you believe that not only was Falcon into the occult with this group, but using a pseudonym, Maury implied that Falcon had Leslie, how do you pronounce her name? Schwago or
Shago.
Maury had you believe that Falcon provided her with a cut German Shepherd ear, who she brought to a taxidermist to have mounted.
Remember I said
Now,
German Shepherd?
we left it out, but
I have it. I can play it. Let me find it.
if you have that clip, I
Hold
think
on. Dog ear. Here we go. So yeah, here's the thing about the dog ear, and we've done a show about the dog ear. It was another Maury hoax. Here's Phil Falcon talking about the dog ear.
You know a girl named Leslie Dowman?
Leslie. I know a chick named Leslie, but I cannot imagine her cutting up a dog.
No, she told us you gave her a dog's ear to be mounted.
What's that?
She told us you gave her a dog's ear.
A dog's ear.
Yeah, to be mounted. And she took it to a taxidermist outside of Minot.
What?
That you had a German Shepherd that had died. And one of the ears was cut off. And you gave it to her to have it mounted.
I have never had a German Shepherd that...
So I don't know what happened to that, but he basically says I've never had it done.
I don't know if I believe this
expressly
dude,
denies
though.
Another direct contradiction.
that was more narrative crafting. Because if Falcon has the dog's ear mounted, it makes him look like a Satanist.
Right, exactly.
And,
Why the fuck would you mount a dog?
I just didn't think we should let him get away with that. That was that was actually number 10.
But
we had 9 lives. That's 10 lives.
Oh, right, exactly. No, we definitely we could do a part 2 of Falcon just on this whole Steve crap and the dog ear mounting. We left that out because it was kind of just like little filler. The main stuff was the fact that let's go over, John, what we learned today. We learned that he never heard of David Berkowitz. We learned that he had no clue what kind of gun John Carr had. We learned that John Carr never spoke about Satanism, never spoke about the occult, never had anything to do with any of this before this one ritual, which was instigated by the mental patient Donnie Boone, who was unknown to this entire crowd because Dosenko got him out of a mental institution and just brought him to live up there.
Which that doesn't even make any sense. These guys are sitting.
This guy had no idea what the hell this was all about. I mean, this is. I mean,
that
this is
doesn't make
even
any
worse.
Sense. This guy just shows up out of nowhere.
Than Brooklyn and Lomino Damasi.
The whole portrayal of this gang it just wasn't portrayed properly. It was exaggerated. No. Stuff was omitted.
It was manipulated. It was what's the term? 10 pounds of shit to fill a 5-pound box. I mean, I'm not quite sure. Oh, and also Dave Moth points out here, John Carr never got any girls and didn't know Falcon that well. And of course, in The Ultimate Evil, what does Maury Terry say about John Carr's dating habits?
Yeah, well, in the letter, he's called a rapist and suffocator of young women, but the actions were that he had the eye for the younger girl.
Right, and that's something that we all thought was true, and here we are hearing that John Carr he didn't date any girls. They were repulsed by him. He had nothing to do with girls at all, really. Now, it's not totally true. He did have a wife. He did have a kid, but it was from an earlier time in his life before he went. Something happened.
I know. Okay, so that's just their opinion of what had happened, and I respect that. Whatever, but you can't use just that little one person's freaking interview by the police in Queens as the end all be all of that. That's fact. These guys they should have gone into talking to the Minot Police Department, the State Patrol, to get their stories behind it too. And I don't think they have. This is very interesting to me. I think I want to keep doing this. And I think next week we'll keep going with this. We'll find other information on the John Carr, David Berkowitz, Son of Sam, North Dakota thing. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think it's very interesting. Ultimate Evil, Maury Terry. It's a fascinating book. I mean, it's like you can put that book up with Helter Skelter about Charles Manson. But we're gonna call it a night here. You guys have yourself a great night. Do some research on the Son of Sam stuff. And then next Saturday night at 9, we'll kind of go into it again. It just depends on if I'm going to be in Minot or not, too. I might, I could be. I'm going to be leaving for a little trip here soon. I just don't know when. So, all right, library, Matt, Ryu. I think you guys are the only ones chilling with me tonight. Thank you very much, you guys. If you missed any of it, watch the beginning of the show. I even showed some comics and murder. Okay, yeah. Ultimate Evil, Maury Terry, Son of Sam. Look up some of that stuff. Next week we'll watch. I'll find another. There's a couple of KMOT, KX13 local channels up here from the 70s that have interviewed some gentlemen who were on the detectives at the time. So, all right, you guys have yourself a great night. Have a great weekend, and we will hear each other soon. Later.